So we're about to start our mini workshop series, an overview of Nigerian culture. We are going to be starting with the Yoruba culture. So I want to mention the organization making this possible is the Nigerian Center, right here in Washington, D.C. The Nigerian Center is the Community, Immigrant, and Cultural Center for Nigeria American community here. So at this moment, I'm going to call on Dr. Taiye. She is the author of the Yoruba songbook. I have a little one as well, and it's so fabulous watching him interact with this book. It almost have an experience like you hired a language teacher for your children. Adults can use the book as well for beginner classes. She's going to talk about her book, but more importantly, she's going to talk about some themes that are worth knowing in the Yoruba culture. Can we all give it up for Dr. Taiye?
You all have been enjoying this wonderful music by this band. Can we give it up for them? I mean, I've been dancing, I don't know about you. But Mr. Benga has introduced me. My name is Dr. Taiye Adedeji. I'm actually a pharmacist by training. But I'm also very, very entrenched in my Yoruba culture, and I don't want it to become obsolete. And so, I grabbed the bull by the horns, and I came up with a book that is interactive and teaches children how to speak Yoruba through English translation. So I'm going to demonstrate that for you, but before I do that, I do want to engage you in a little bit of history. So does anybody know where Nigeria is? Crickets, come on. You're in an Afro lounge and can somebody tell me where Nigeria is?
East Africa.
Did somebody say East Africa?
Yes.
No. That's not it. Any other guesses? West Africa. Can we please give it up for the two that said West Africa? Thank you. And by your answer, we can already tell that Africa is not a country, right?
Right.
Can we all attest to that it's not a country, it's a continent, right? Okay. So, in West Africa, you have multiple countries, one of which is Nigeria, which actually is the most populous country that houses people of African descent, you know. And so we're very proud of our country, despite the stereotypes. We are one of the African countries that produces professionals all around the world. And if you've met a Nigerian, you know that we excel at whatever we do. I'm sorry, I'm crying a little bit. I'm sorry. I can't help it. But in Nigeria, we have so many different ethnic groups, one of which is the Yoruba people. Has anybody heard about Yoruba people? Listen, if you have, let me tell you how you may have heard about a Yoruba person. You're probably walking in a grocery store, and you see somebody holding their cell phone and talking really loudly in another language. That is probably a Nigerian and probably a Yoruba person, because we like to be heard, okay? All right, so that being said, Yoruba people are concentrated in the southwestern region of Nigeria. And what people don't know sometimes is that Yoruba people are actually all over the world, actually concentrated also in Brazil through the unfortunate trade that occurred many, many years ago. And some people in Cuba also attribute their lineage to the Yoruba land. And so we're very proud that people have held on to their culture despite the dissemination and exile of people. All right, so you heard some wonderful music, so I want to just talk a little bit about the musical roots of the Yoruba people.
Whose phone is this?
Back in the day, I want to get your attention. Let me get your attention, people. We're talking about the Yoruba culture here. Come through. All right, so Yoruba people are very musical in nature. I'm glad more people tuned in. Thank you, Ben. I love it. Yoruba people are very musical in nature, so much so that when we pass on our culture, back in the day, the elders would gather all the young children around in the evening, in the villages, just so that they can impart some knowledge, some wisdom by way of singing, by way of folk tales, by way of history. And it's always fun because you have music lining it, right? Whenever you go to a Nigerian party, particularly a Yoruba wedding, I don't know if anybody has been to a Yoruba wedding, we do it big and we do it loud, and the music is oftentimes the signature piece of it. If you go to a Nigerian wedding and you don't dance, that means that, I don't know what to say, but really, you have to at least leave something. So we have multiple musical instruments. We have things like the drum, which is known as ilu, one of which specifically is called gongong. And talking drum is a kind of drum that mimics the human voice. Has anybody anybody heard of the talking drum?
Yeah.
No? Okay, you have. Where are you from? Do you mind asking?
India.
So have you heard of it by way of African history? Or okay, there we go. So the gong gong is a drum that mimics language, and it mimics the human voice, such that whenever the drummer beats the drum, oftentimes there are interpreters that know exactly what the drum is trying to communicate. And back in the day, in different villages, before the cell phone and all this stuff, what used to happen is that the drummer would beat the drum in one village to alert, the people there if there's danger, or if the king or Ba has a message, and that drum would then, translate to other villages, and the drummer will pick it up from there, and then from there they'll beat the drum, and then it will just transmit the news all around the town and village. This is a sample of the drum, and does anybody? Sorry about that. That's not how the drum sounds, I promise. Okay. Does anybody know how to beat the drum so you can beat it for them? Okay, so he's going to demonstrate just how we get live in the Yoruba culture. And by the way, while he's doing that, my outfit, this is a signature material that is staple in the Nigerian culture, and Yoruba people oftentimes would use the Ankara fabric. It's a vibrant, as you can tell, very colorful, right? It's a vibrant, colorful material that we use into different styles, and even in the weddings or ceremonies, you have people that will pick the same pattern, so just so you can identify them as part of the groom's family or part of the bride's family. So it's very festive. All right, let's have somebody demonstrate the pocket drum. Can I get somebody to come and volunteer to dance for us? I'm looking at this area. Oh, we have a volunteer. Come on. Yeah. That's it. In the Yoruba culture, when you're dancing, you oftentimes use your shoulder and your back and your butt. Okay, your bum bum. Yeah, because every part of your body has to be engaged in the rhythm. Oh, she's doing it. Anybody else want to join her? It's very simple. Just your shoulders. Your bum bum. Okay, keep going. I'm just talking over here. So, as the drummers beat on the drums, you can tell that it's very rhythmic, melodic, harmonious, and you can't help but move your body parts, so it allows you to have some form of exercise. There's something in the Yoruba culture called the oriki. Oriki is a poetic eulogy, not oftentimes for a deceased person. It's usually a song that's praising the Yoruba people or a particular family. It's a way to communicate the history and the language and the wisdom and values and ethics of our culture, because we do believe in values, right? Respect our elders. Anybody met an elderly Yoruba person? As is customary, no matter how fashionable I am, no matter how educated I am, no matter how sophisticated I am, this is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to demonstrate. It's called respect. This is what you do in the Yoruba culture. You go to the elderly person and you curtsy. You get down on your knees and they bless you. Did you see all that? They bless you. There we go. They touch your hand and they say prayer for you. So can you imagine if you're kneeling down and bowing and curtsying and respecting your elders, how much prayer you're going to get in your life and how successful you're going to be? So this is just our culture for you. Big on respect. We're happy people. We like to dance. We excel in academics. And we love our language. So speaking of language, I'm going to demonstrate the book right now. All right, this is my book that I came up with during the pandemic to teach my children how to speak Yoruba. It's an interactive book called the Yoruba Soundbook for Children, and it goes over, I believe, 14 topics. It sings to you, it sounds out the words in both English and Yoruba, it quizzes you. So thank you, Mrs. Brown. So he greets you, says welcome, because we're big on greeting too. You can't meet a Yoruba person and not greet them. If you do that, everybody in the entire community would descend on you and say, how can you walk past an elderly person and not even greet? Okay, so in the morning, since we're talking about greeting, let me go to that page. You wanted to say good morning?
English, good morning.
Okay, if you are interested in Yoruba language, do stop by at the booth and I'll be happy to give you a copy when you pay for it. All right, thank you for your attention, and hopefully you learned a little bit about the Yoruba people. Thanks again.